All right, let's start with the decode portion of the show. I know it's not everyone's favorite, but we need to
I
have a
like the hold
yeah.
on, I like the code.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I always like Gabby loves her disruption.
I like the code.
Well, we need to have a framework, right? We need to know what we're
Yeah.
talking about. So, what does it mean to metabolize change? So, here's the first point we're going to talk about. Change happens quickly, integration happens slowly.
Mhm.
If I could add crickets to that right there, it's like boring.
Yeah. No, it does. It makes perfect sense. By the time we get to the end of the episode, they'll understand that statement.
So, what are we discussing?
So today we're going to discuss why modern culture rewards acceleration, why pauses are often misinterpreted as stagnation, and why people feel guilty or impatient when nothing appears to be happening.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the first point that we're going to the first decode point, the discussion for that is a decision can happen in a moment, but the nervous system may take weeks or months to even catch up to that. Why clarity immediately creates peace, and why transitions often feel disorienting.
Yeah, that's a lot of words, right?
Yeah, it is.
Whew. So let's break this down into a real world example. So a decision can happen in any moment. I think we talked about this, Gabby, you and I. How many decisions does a human being make in a day?
Yep.
Do y'all ever have decision fatigue? Like what the fuck to eat? Like grateful or privileged to have food,
Yep.
and it gets in the way of like I have so many decisions to make,
Exactly.
right?
But not only that, a decision can happen in a moment, and the nervous system may take weeks or months to catch up. Is because our brain is an ever moving organism. You know, we're constantly thinking, constantly making decisions, like you said. So it's easy to say, "Hey, I'm going to go. I'm going to start running every morning at 5 a.m." Right?
Mm-hmm.
But the nervous system, that's not your baseline. So the nervous system takes time to catch up to that. So you have to physically train your nervous system for that. Like you have to train for that. You have to get up. Your brain make the decision, but you have to take the conscious effort to go and actually run at 5 a.m. every morning. And if you do that over time, it'll become your baseline. But if you don't do that, if you do it sparingly, if you do it when you're in the mood, you made the decision to do it, but you've never retrained your nervous system, you
Mm.
know?
That is so good. And I think that's why we might feel like failures if we're
Yep.
trying to do something new and we
Mhm.
fall off and then we just quit the new thing we were trying.
Yep.
It didn't become a part of the baseline.
It didn't. It did not.
Mm. We also said this line clarity doesn't immediately create peace. So
Yes.
starting something new, A, is never easy. And I don't think peace is going to be the first thing you're going to experience.
No, it's not. I think, when you have clarity about something, so I like to use physical fitness, Kia and I like to use physical fitness because that's kind of our thing, as examples. But yeah, clarity doesn't immediately, create peace, I had to come to terms where I'm coming off some injuries a couple years ago, actually, and I had to make the conscious decisions like, "Okay, how do I get back into the gym?" And I had to start at a certain level, so with me, it was pain management. I had to make my pain manageable enough to get physically back into the gym. And that took 2 months, 2 months, because I had some really bad injuries. And so that clarity came, hey, you want to get back in the fitness. You don't want this thing to be the end of your life. So you have to start somewhere. And no, I was pissed off. There was no peace. I was angry. I'm like, I gotta wait 2 months to physically get back there, but I made the decision. I'm getting back into the gym. So I think that's an example of why clarity doesn't immediately create peace all the time.
Thank you for sharing that because nobody really, like in the movie, they show sometimes the character struggling, but it's usually glossed over, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you have 90 minutes and you're not going to show this person struggling in their inner world, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
these transitions are disorienting. So give yourself extra grace and celebration, which is actually a neurotransmitter hack.
Yep.
Like literally like every small thing, like, dude, I went to the gym. Okay, one step at the more you do that, the better. So okay,
Yeah.
moving on to the next point. Nature metabolizes through cycles, and humans are not separate from nature.
Yeah. Can you kinda explain that? I know you have your background, your history in, in yoga and those other sort of practices. Can you
Mm.
sort of like explain that? Like how I understand that humans aren't separate from nature, but how do we necessarily metabolize through cycles with nature?
I love that question. Thank you. Ooh, if we had days, we could do a whole workshop on this, but to bring this into a succinct something for us to metabolize easily, we are made of the elements are the same. So if you look at like everything's like molecules. Everything is energy. We've heard that before. Like a table,
Mhm,
if you broke it down, it's made of the same energy as your body. So it's like we are not separate from our environment, the mountains, the rivers, the rocks, the fire, like it's all in us, it's reflected outside of us. The one thing that humans aren't doing in the modern world is honoring winter, honoring like the death and rebirth cycle,
mhm.
which is identity death, which we talked about in episode 1. So it's like we're constantly going. But when do we rest? Unfortunately, when something bad happens, like an
Mhm.
illness, an injury, a death.
Yeah.
Oh, those things happen in life, but do they have to be the catalyst for change all the time?
I mean, they shouldn't be, but on the flip side of that we're also not taught this stuff, you know? We're not
Mm.
taught. So obviously it does take a life disorienting um experience to make a lot of us sort of realize this stuff, you know.
I agree with you. It's not taught because if I get on my high horse about capitalism and the patriarchy, I don't hate it. I don't hate it, but they literally factory farmed human labor and it
Yeah,
started in school. You are conditioned to sit still as a child and not honor your body when you need to pee or eat. And hello,
yeah,
it translates to the workplace,
or
y'all.
play. Yeah,
Yeah, or play. They got rid of recess and you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So we aren't taught how to be in rhythm with nature like our indigenous practices and our ancestors
yeah.
because there's no productivity or profit in that.
Yep, absolutely. But I think we could build a better system, right? Ones that I think the way schools should go, not to get on a tangent, not to go away from this, but I
Patriarchy.
think the better way for schools to go is to put people where they belong naturally. You know what you want to be when you grow up as a child. You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah, I'm getting chills like that.
Yeah. Like, I think for an example, the Montessori schools,
Yeah.
those are often your creatives, your high IQ kids that don't really fit into a traditional classroom. I think they have the right model. You gotta allow kids to be kids, and you never know what they're gonna grow up to be or what they'll create.
Gabby, I wish that was accessible to all incomes. That just breaks
Yeah,
my heart. So we're gonna have
yeah,
to have another. We always say this. We're gonna have to
yeah,
another episode to break that
yeah,
down.
yeah. Oh,
And
absolutely.
we got Kita in the room. We got Marlena in the room.
Oh, welcome, ladies. Thank you
Pronounce
guys for joining us.
Do you know how to pronounce that first name? Ivoire.
Iviore?
No, it's
No?
pretty. Okay, so we're talking about like metabolizing change and nature. The seeds are underground, and this one's even hard for me, having trained, living with cycles. It's still that impatience of grow, motherfucker, grow. Like I've
Mhm.
been putting in the work. Where's the receipts at? Um,
Absolutely.
so yeah, things compost, they have a cycle, rest phases in growth cycles. Anything more to talk about that? I feel like that's pretty
I
clear
know.
to
I
me.
think that's clear. I think we're clear on that one.
Yeah, hell yeah. Okay, so we're on to decoding point 3, Gabby. Go ahead and start us off.
Yeah, the nervous system needs time to digest. Like I mentioned earlier, we make the decision, but the nervous system still has to integrate that change over time. And the only way to integrate that change is by compounding that action over the course of time, you know. Rest and digest, stress response versus integration response. Why insight alone doesn't create transformation. We get the insight, but the insight is in the mind. The body still hasn't absorbed that insight yet. The difference between understanding something and embodying it. You can intellectualize. I'm big on intellectualizing. I do this. I'm guilty.
Same.
I literally intellectualize everything, right? But that doesn't mean I embody it. That's why you see people that know better not always make the best decisions. They knew it was a bad decision. They understood it was a bad decision because they're not embodying those changes. They're not embodying those lessons. They're
Yeah.
not they're not acting on that wisdom or that insight, right? And yeah, that's and unless you have something for that point?
Oh, I think that's a fair point, and
Yeah.
if you bring in like neurodivergent, autistic, whatever, and you have a fast brain and a sensitive nervous system, you tend to live up here. You
Yeah,
have even more thoughts than the average person, which could be 40,000 to 90,000 a day, and half of them are the same thoughts.
that's crazy.
It is. It literally is. So if you're not doing any work around watching your thoughts and choosing which ones serve you, you're at the mercy of your old subconscious patterns. Okay.
Absolutely.
So to bring this back to what Gabby said, which is so good, we intellectualize things, but how do
Yep.
you bring it into the body, right?
Yeah.
And what do you think next episode's going to be on? Little
Embodiment and naturally, it's the natural flow, you know? We're gonna learn embodiment.
Right, because it's not bad to live up here, but up here is pretty fucking nuts, and especially when you're an empath or in tune, or you sense and hear more things, you got more static. You
Yeah,
got more frequencies talking, and you got to be like, which is my voice? And you can call that God, source, creator, your higher self. That's the one that's guiding you and leading you
absolutely.
in the right direction.
No, absolutely.
All right, sick. I think that's good. Let's go on to point number 4. Start us off.
Alright, most people move on before they absorb what happened, you know? We don't wanna think about it. We just wanna move past, whatever it was, whether it was a relationship ending or a career change or a move or a loss or a success. A lot of us don't live in the moment. I guess that's the best way to sum that up. We don't live in the moment and absorb what happened and extract the lessons, um, from them. You know what I'm saying? I don't necessarily believe they're all avoidance, Marlene. I believe most people do that, you know? Um, I think a lot of us, we were just trained to keep pushing, keep trucking along, you know? You're built for it tough. Don't let a hard time humble you, you know? Like all those sayings that are out there, all point to the same thing. You know, you live experience something bad, let's get back into the fight, you know? Sort of thing. What do you think?
I feel
Mhm.
this is where if you live in both I see Marlena's point. There I've
Mhm.
dealt, especially in dating, with avoidance. So
Yeah,
I see and hear you. And Gabby's talking about your lane and all of it is
yeah,
applicable, right?
yeah,
So let's take an example. What comes up for me is the discomfort of sitting with what happened. So we want to move on.
yes. A
And
lot of us want to get past grief.
that's what's been rewarded is like toughen up, get up, do something. That's
Yeah.
old paradigm language, y'all.
Yep,
It may have served our parents, their parents, because it was a different economic system, different time.
yep,
But I don't see that serving us now, especially if you're a heart based leader, for lack of a better word, like a lot of us are right here. Okay.
yeah. Or let's just call him an emotionally intelligent leader.
Hey, I
You leave
like
it
that.
emotion.
I like that. I like
Yeah,
that. Emotional intelligence, brain heart coherence. Yeah,
yep,
I'm here for that. Okay, so I kind of got lost in the sauce there. So the point is, most people move on before they absorb what happened. And
yep,
these are just big things that derail. If we bring it even back to simplest terms, your operating system, how you move through daily life got rocked.
yes.
So I think to protect yourself in fight or flight, moving on
Mhm.
is like the most logical thing to do.
No,
It,
I agree.
right? Instead of tapping out and licking your wounds, because that isn't really glorified. Or can we say the bills aren't paid?
Yep, we can.
This is good territory. This is why the term sabbatical, it's usually been like for people with privilege. I'm going to
Mhm.
take a year off and I'm going to, like how
Yeah,
do most of us who didn't grow up financially secure do that?
yep, we
So,
can't.
well, it's a mindset thing too. It's like I need to, I have to. I had to do it through severe depression when I was in my 20s. I didn't have a fucking choice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I don't know if I want to talk about that right now, but it was scary times, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I can only imagine.
Yeah. So we'll keep it lighter on that end. But my point is, yeah, so try not to move on. And that doesn't have to mean quitting your job, but just creating more space. to reflect and absorb. And we talked a lot about that on the last episode. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to how this is a really good teaching moment, Gabby.
Okay, so teachable moment, you cannot force digestion, you create conditions for digestion. Change is the event, metabolizing is the process. Just
Mhm.
because something is over doesn't mean your nervous system has caught up yet.
Ooh, I like the way that tied all together.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. And let's repeat that. Change is the event, metabolizing is the process. So if, to me, that means the change happened and
Mhm.
metabolizing is ongoing, because that's why they say healing doesn't happen. It's like not linear. Like you can, like grief,
Yeah.
right? You can have a day where you don't feel or miss that thing or person. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I can't get out of bed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Marlena says, your body still feels what your mind rushes past.
No, that's true. That's
Body
true.
doesn't lie, right? We've said that before. All right. Are we complete with Decode?
Yes, it's time to disrupt. So what are we challenging today? We're gonna challenge that the myth that fat we're gonna challenge the myth that faster is better. What if speed isn't the goal? You know? The pressure to immediately know what's next, why uncertainty is often part of integration, and the self-improvement loop. I hate a self-help guru. So the pitfall.
First, Gabby, I want you, let's take a pause and be like, why is self improvement? Yeah, I want, go.
Oh, so self-improvement in and of itself isn't bad, right? I just feel like the self-help space oftentimes skips over integrating the lessons, integrating how to change. It's all positive talk, positive self-talk, affirmations. They skip over the hard, tough discussions that we need to have to understand what we're actually going through and how to actually process coming out of those spaces. I feel like the self-help space is a temporary fix. It's a band-aid over a wound, you
Yeah.
know?
Mhm.
Yeah, we haven't healed the wound, it's just a Band-Aid.
Mm.
Um, and so that's my issue with self-help. How do you feel about it?
Well, first of all, I have to say I'm a little too involved in it, as I was in it in the Bay Area because I got yoga certified in 2009. It's a long time ago, it was a different scene. And if I'm being real, it was really hard to be like the only POC in the Bay Area who could afford the yoga tuition, and take time off work, and then to be reflected in these rooms where I didn't have a mirror for my
Yeah,
body type, for what my ancestors knew, for my, like, there was no land acknowledgement. There was nothing. It was like a certain group of people telling you to do these things, and then you can help other people, but if you keep paying more into their things,
yeah,
which maybe there's some goodness in that. It helped me get to where I'm at. But to Gabby's point, I feel like you go through the initiations of your life. That's the best spiritual teacher.
yes,
These initiations, and what do you learn from them and how do you grow? And sometimes someone comes into your life, a healer, word, right? That word.
yeah,
Because we do hire someone or for their services to support us. I don't know the language around that, but
yeah,
so we're all about growth and evolution, but just make sure your authenticity is supported, your sovereignty is supported, and that person did the work or went through the shit to talk about it. That's my 2 cents.
no, absolutely, I agree. Um, so some of the pitfalls, right? We're
Yes.
we're always learning, we're always optimizing, we're always fixing, we're always becoming. I want to challenge that. When do you actually absorb what you already learned, right? So there's when do you actually absorb it? If you're always, doing something, when you taking time to introspect and absorb, when you allowing your nervous system to catch up with the new information, the new program, the new fix, who you've become. So the productivity model of growth measured by visible output. I feel like we live in a productivity culture, what I call a productivity culture at least, where your growth is measured by the visible output. Did you get the promotion? Um, did you win the award? Are you nominated for this? The visible output of tangible things that say that we've grown. And oftentimes the most important growth happens internally, is what I believe. The upgraded mindset, the new nervous system baseline, because that actually allows you to show up differently into the world, a lot of times. We often skip over the invisible growth and the integration and the wisdom. You have to go through certain things to grow into certain things, right? And maybe our current systems don't support this. We have limited vacation time, holiday consumption months before the actual holiday. We're always trying to look at the outside, the exterior, what's going on, what's next, that we don't stop to think about what's going on with us internally.
Mm, that's well said.
Yeah.
That's completely amazing. Like nothing to add. Really
I
good.
can I feel that. Marlena put 2 comments. It becomes so performative. She's talking about the self-help space. It becomes so performative. People think just because you know the words doesn't mean you're living aligned. And
Mm,
that's absolutely true. That I say the same thing about therapy talk. With Gen Z and their feelings and they care I will say this about Gen Z. I do not bash Gen Z. I love them. I love them. I thought I would love them a lot more, but they're regressing on me. Gen Z brought emotional intelligence to the forefront of America. There's no generation before Gen Z where emotional intelligence was even a talking point. It was a few of us that knew what it was, a few of us that studied. If you weren't in a particular field or you didn't have a specific interest in it, no one had even heard the term emotional intelligence. And Gen Z is the generation that says, no, my feelings matter. We're going to talk about this. And they introduced emotional intelligence to us. And we've seen the results of that in the last, I want to say, 3 to 5 years, where it's become more than a buzzword these days. People are actually taking interest in it. But my thing with that is with the emotional intelligence came therapy talk.
mm,
And I feel like we've gotten so good at it, we're getting really good at speaking the therapy language without actually aligning with it.
mm.
And that's to Marlena's point, the words, that doesn't mean you're living in alignment with the words, right? So I agree with that comment, Marlena, 2000%. She says, I feel like some days I wake up and I'm just different. I felt that too. I
Don't you
feel that too.
love that when it happens? That's
You
embodied.
do. Yeah, that, and I think I'm not in the neuroscience space. I know you have a neuroscience background. I'm not in the neuroscience space, but I think I'm coming to believe that certain integrations and certain upgrades to your nervous system happen in the dream state.
Hell
And
yeah.
this just me doing my research. I've written a couple articles about it. Um, but yeah, that's just how I feel. Because sometimes I wake up and I just feel internally different.
I love this. Okay, I'm about to percolate out my chair because
Okay, yeah. If you want,
yes, yes, yes. Oh my God, we have to have enough. Can someone scribe how many times it's like we need to have a whole episode on that shit, dude? I can't.
yeah,
That was beautiful.
yeah,
Can I back it up? Because
yeah.
we, in this discussion, we said the pressure to immediately know what's next, why uncertainty is often part of integration. And if we tap into America, because we're in America and Gabby and I talk about that's our lens, because maybe you're
Yeah,
tuning in from another country, not the
yeah,
same. So there's hell uncertainty on the planet and especially in America, right? So
yeah,
collectively, which means outside, macro, and then you have your uncertainty inside. Okay. It might be coming from a job, your health, a relationship, all the things. And so when this pressure to not have certainty, what happens? You feel pressure, right? I don't know. I feel like if we just take a moment to break that down, but what if the uncertainty is where it cooks? Let it cook.
yes. I agree. You have to. I think growth requires some level of discomfort and uncertainty, right? Because you have to learn to introspect and navigate your why. Why are you
Ooh,
experiencing this? And extract the wisdom from it. That's where wisdom comes from. You know, we all have our own journey and we all have our own experiences, right? But in that uncertainty and discomfort is where you gain your wisdom about your place in the world, about your journey, about what's next for you as an individual. So yeah, I agree with your statement, a
oh,
1000%.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So I love this segue. Marlena, you are so tapped in. Holiday consumption is really effed up to our internal cycles. You all go to Target, it's barely what do you call it, Halloween, and there's like Christmas shit about to be pulled out, and you're just like, I just got done with last Christmas. If you do celebrate, you know what
Oh
I'm saying?
yeah. Yeah, no, no.
They're trying
I
to push
feel
it
it.
forward and make more profit, and who's at the whim of that? Us.
Us.
Us. And that's how you get
Yeah.
your power back. Is do you subconsciously buy into that? And if you do buy into it, make a choice about it. That's all I gotta say.
No, absolutely.
I work retail. I work a lot of retail too, and I can't imagine
Oh,
change like now, girl.
oh my God. I couldn't imagine working retail, especially during the holiday seasons.
Uh-uh. Black Friday.
No, couldn't do it.
Yes, keto.
Yes. Oh, Keto wrote a really good article on consumption today. It's from a different perspective, but I read your article today, Keto. I loved it. I think I left a comment.
An endless cycle of okay. Oh my god, I was on a reality show like when Fear Factor was a thing. It was like 2004. We tried to solve social issues. It did not get picked up because we were not drunk and like
Oh, wow.
but it did talk about America and consumption because it's a fucking problem, even though we do like to buy things because it's both and. Anyway,
Yes.
all right, take me
Yes.
back on topic. Where we at? Where we at?
Yes. We're still at discomfort myth. Um, Yes, sometimes discomfort means change is being processed. Sometimes confusion is part of reorganization. So you may feel disoriented or confused because you are ending one cycle or one journey, of life, and you're about to step into a new one. And that disorientating space in between the two is where you extract the lessons learned. Is where you reflect and introspect on the lessons learned in the previous cycle, and then where you see yourself going in the future, and how are you going to take those lessons and build the foundation so you can go forward and into the future. And that's just my 2 cents on the rest of the discomfort myth.
Yeah. And I know it's Kita and Gabby's jam, but muscles need recovery. Like
Yes,
you go work out, you have a hard workout at the gym, you're going to be sore after. So why wouldn't it be the same if you're changing how you show up in the world and live every day? Duh.
absolutely. Excuse me.
Uh-huh.
So this is just my note. Every biological system requires integration time. Muscles need recovery, digestion requires absorption, forests require seasons, yet humans often expect to evolve without any integration period at all. We kind of just fall into the new role. You were one way this day, you're going to be one way the next, and it just doesn't work like that.
Does that work like that? I'm trying to come up with an example, like in my life or in your life, or if you're
I'll
listening.
get a marathon runner. I can decide today, hey, I'm going to run a marathon at the end of the month. I've
Then
never First of all, I hate running.
we do.
Personally, I hate running. So you don't run, you don't own running shoes, um, you don't understand the mechanisms of running, you don't understand how far 26 miles is. Um
And track
yeah,
that shit. And can you
yeah,
imagine
yeah, yeah.
running
Your
it?
your your body isn't conditioned. There are so many steps in that space that you should be between deciding to run and the marathon, right? Maybe you got to realize that it's going to take more than a month. I think that's the perfect example. You make a quick decision. I'm going to be a marathon runner. Well, the time to progressively get there from no running at all to running a marathon is long. Is long. There's a lot of training involved, there's eating you need to consider, there's hydration, there's so many factors to consider before you just run a marathon.
Good point. I like that real
Yeah.
world example.
Yeah.
You don't love running. Yeah, I didn't love running. I was the last person in PE to fucking run. I was like, I'm on my period again. Don't make me
Yeah.
run.
Yeah, I hate running.
And then my ex-husband was a runner. And you try to do things your partner does.
Yeah.
I was proud I did a half marathon, but I was like,
That's
no.
amazing.
Thank you so much. I did it like 3 or 4 times.
That's amazing. See? I would never. I don't care how great I get at running. I'm not running 13 miles. I'm just not doing it.
Ridiculous, to be honest. Like now,
Yeah, I'm just not doing it.
just right, like two and whatever, 5Ks, just right. Because
Yeah, 5K is great.
yeah. What
Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Exactly,
I
Keita.
love the P's on that. Proper
Yes.
preparation
Yes.
prevents poor performance.
Yes,
Damn.
I love that.
Oh,
Yeah. So my I've read my architect notes, right?
yeah. Now we'd love
Yeah.
to know the key.
Oh, so
Mhm.
my key disruption, right?
Uh-huh.
Not every pause is avoidance, Marlena. Some I'm just
Oh no, bitch!
okay, not every pause is avoidance. Some pauses are where transformation becomes real. The goal isn't constant growth. The goal is sustainable growth.
Yes.
Growth that you can sustain over time.
And that's where we have grace because life happens. And when I worked with people at UC Berkeley as a motivation and a health coach, people had those lofty goals. Like they were literally high BMI, want to run the marathon because that's what America does, go big or go home.
Yes.
Nah, you need to dial it back.
Mhm.
And so sustainable means if your partner gets sick, if your child gets sick, you're still going to run somehow. You're going to still show up. You don't cut it out. It's not either or. You have built-in rests. You have
Yep.
built-in low training days.
Yes.
You do other ways to stay connected to the why and the goal.
Absolutely. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Dope. All
So
right.
s let's recalibrate. Let's recalibrate. What change am I trying to rush past? That's your reflection question for the week. What change am I currently trying to rush past? The first takeaway, notice where you're demanding certainty from yourself. Can you replace certainty with observation? Can you introspect? So the changes you're trying to rush past, instead of being certain about it, where can you observe? So action step, choose one transition currently happening in your life. Instead of asking what's next, ask what am I learning from this? How can you build more space or rest into your day, week, month, or even on a larger scale to support your dreams, vision, and wildest dreams? Remember, only you can create the conditions for peace first. To see peace reflected back, especially when we cannot control the circumstances or the outcome.
Mm, that was a lot. And I would rewind that when we have, the recording available because this is where the gold is. This is okay. I had a thought when I was listening to you, and I want to take a moment to bring it back. Do you want to know why it's super important to really reflect and not demand certainty and to ask yourself why this is happening to you? So out of victimhood, out of like, why me? You are the
Mhm.
common denominator in everything in your life,
You are.
right?
Absolutely.
You're going to blame the people you're dating, your family. You can, they play a role, but ultimately it's what you do and how you're perceiving it. So if you take a moment to sit back and be like, yeah, I did that. I did that. I want to do this better. Then what happens is you go back out in the world and you either interact with the same people or new people differently.
Absolutely.
And they react and give you feedback, and this constant dance happens.
Mhm.
That's how change happens.
That is how change happens. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
So that's what we're all here to do. We're all learning, as Ram Dass says, we're all learning how to walk each other home, which is home is your heart. Home is where unconditional love exists. And sometimes we slip up. That's the actual definition of sin, according to the Course in Miracles. If you know that book, it's not like this God in the sky is going to punish you. We miss the mark of what we're doing is just to be love, and we make mistakes and we fall down, and then we reflected that in the relationships we have. So that's what I got to say.
I love that. Thank you for adding that. So my last thing, my final reflection, I gave it some changes happen in the moment, some happen over months. Wisdom comes from learning the difference. Integration is where change becomes identity. Integration is where change becomes identity.
And yo, if we dial it back to episode 1, what was it about? Identity.
Identity.
Yes. And all we're like Janelle Monáe says, how many versions of me? And I love every one of them,
Yes.
right? Because that's how we grow. And it's amazing to look back and be like, that girl like 3 months ago would not have done what this one does.
No, absolutely not.
Oh, I love this topic. I'm so grateful. I have nothing to add. I feel so. What about y'all listening? Where are you at? I love the hearts. I love the enthusiasm.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What are you trying to rush past? Think on that. You don't have to put it in the comments, but think on that. What are you currently trying to rush past? You know? Oh, my bad. Oh my god.
I'm trying to rush. Wait, I don't get it. I'm trying to rush past my bed. Help me understand that because you want to stay in bed. Gabby, do you understand? I don't rush anything.
Oh, that's
Okay.
what she's saying. I don't rush anything.
Oh,
I like that.
I like that. Do you have a lot of Taurus energy in your chart? I don't know. Are we good? Do
I
we?
think so. I think we covered everything,
Mm.
um, you know, for
All
this
the
topic.
I remember Marlena doesn't have access to her real, not real, her whole chart. So
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. So maybe the answer isn't more information. Maybe it's more integration.
And maybe you don't need another breakthrough right now. Maybe all you need is time to absorb the one you've already had or going through currently.
Yes, this is Decode Disrupt, where insight meets interruption.
It is. And sorry, my ADHD brain's like ping, ping, ping.
Yeah.
Marlena, actually, the inner room in August is going to have a special. Oh my God, your chart. Did you get your birth time? So interested. Okay. Damn. I guess we're done then.
See you
I don't
guys
know
next week.
how to like gab and hang out, but I think we're done.
We are. See you guys next week. The topic will be embodiment.
Peace. Love y'all.